What's going on, YouTube, and welcome to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte. Today we're going to be taking a look at Alexander Ovechkin and his quest to break the all-time goal-scoring record in NHL history. Wayne Gretzky currently holds that record right now as the leading goal scorer in all of NHL history in a given season, with 894 goals in his National Hockey League career. Alex Ovechkin, though, is pretty close. 894 for Gretzky, 868 right now for the Great Eight. And through 18 games to start, through 18 games to start the 24-25 season, Ovechkin already has 15 goals. That's basically a goal per game. But of course, there's more to the story here. A little bit of adversity in the face of the Great Eight, as Ovechkin's been out for the past 10 games for the Washington Capitals with a leg injury. We all saw that gruesome hit he took a couple weeks back. He's been out of the lineup since. December 4th, he was back on the ice skating, which is good news for the Capitals. The Capitals continue to chug along. They're still winning hockey games, and Ovechkin's quest can continue when he comes back and is healthy, as the Capitals seem to be doing pretty well even without Ovechkin in the lineup, which is pretty insane, because that has not been the case for the Capitals for the last, really, since he came to the Capitals. He has been the driving force on offense for the Capitals, but they're finding ways to get goals from other players in the lineup as well. And you look at Ovechkin really over the last 5 games that he played, he is that type of guy where when he scores a goal, he's probably going to score 2. And when you look at the last 5 games he's played in, that's basically what happened. He scored 2 goals against the St. Louis Blues, was shut out in the game against the Toronto Maple Leafs, and then the 3 preceding games after that, he had a 2-game stretch against Toronto and Colorado. He did not score a goal in either of those games. Then he has a hat trick out in Vegas against the Golden Knights, and then 2 goals against the Utah Hockey Club, which obviously he got injured in that game. Who knows? He might have even scored a hat trick in that game, depending on how things would have gone through. But I have to say, with the way Ovechkin's been playing and the way that the rest of the Capitals are playing, there is definitely a pretty realistic chance Ovechkin ends up breaking the record. A lot of people have been very skeptical on whether Ovechkin could do that, and there's reason to believe that. You look at the last couple of years for Ovechkin, he has definitely given you genuine concern over the last couple of years whether he would actually break it or not. Especially last year. I think last year was the one that really had people concerned, because in 79 games, he had one of the lowest goal totals in a full season he's had since basically he came into the league. He had 33 goals in the 2016-2017 season. That was a full 82-game schedule. He only had 31 goals last season. So there was definitely reason to believe, with the Capitals kind of falling off, he was a -16 and a -22 the last 2 years. So with that, just the fact the team was falling apart, he was getting older, now he's got injury issues. Like, would Ovechkin realistically be able to break that record? But there is definitely a lot of people that genuinely believe that when he comes back by the end of this season, Ovechkin could potentially break it. And is he going to maybe hit 30 goals? I think he could. And how crazy would it be if he ended up getting that done during the playoffs? That would be insane. They go on a deep playoff run, Ovechkin's playing well. There's a chance he could break it this season with the way the Capitals have been playing. Is it necessarily likely? Maybe not, because again, we're already now 10 more games into the season. At the point of when the injury happened, I think it was more realistic. It'll probably be at some point in 2025, like fall of 2025. I wouldn't be surprised if the Great Eight ends up breaking that record. So let me know what you guys think down below, because I think Ovechkin, if he is indeed going to break this record, and he is going to be the type of player that becomes the greatest Capital of all time and the greatest goal scorer of all time, you need good players around you to do that. And I think for the Capitals, the last 2 years, there was genuine concern about that. This team seemed to be going in a bit of a rebuild, and when teams start to go down that path, they slowly start fading out of the playoff picture, and slow, like last year getting blasted by the Rangers in the first round. Like there was genuine reason for concern for the Capitals, and in all likelihood was going to be a part of this situation with Ovechkin. Like, would this team be able to kind of muster up enough skill and talent to be able to put a product on the ice that, yeah, they were going to go for it with Ovechkin, whether this team was doing well or not, but they wanted to continue to have a team that could produce and do well. And that's not always a possibility when you've lost as much as the Capitals have over the years since winning that Stanley Cup. Big contracts to Karlsson, Wilson, and Ovechkin, and then losing key players like Oshie and Backstrom the last couple years. It's not necessarily easy to replace those guys without drafting high early in the first round of the NHL draft. But they haven't been doing that, but they're still finding good players in their lineup that are contributing and allowing guys like Ovechkin to continue his quest for that ultimate prize, which is being the greatest goal scorer of all time. And when you look at Ovechkin's age, he is 39 years old. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be the next Gordie Howe who plays to 50, and he plays a very different game than Gordie Howe ever did, so it wouldn't necessarily work in that sense. But Ovechkin is a big dude, 6'3", 238 pounds. And I talk about this on my videos when I talk about the Capitals, when I talk about Ovechkin. I've seen him in person at Islander games. I've seen him down in Washington. I've been down to DC twice. Twice. I've been down to watch Caps games twice. And this is a guy, I remember I was sitting right behind the penalty box, maybe in the mid-2010s at Nassau Coliseum. I have never heard somebody, the way he breaks the ice, that noise that when you're skating across, that shh, 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 it sounded like a train, a literal freight train, when Ovechkin was skating down the ice. There is so much power and speed when he's skating, and then on top of that, his hitting ability, his one-timers, his shooting, his accuracy, his skill, his hands, all that stuff. You stack that into what is probably going to be the greatest goal scorer of all time. I know a lot of people are not going to love the idea that Wayne Gretzky's record could get broken, because there is definitely that lore of Wayne Gretzky being the best hockey player of all time. And if Ovechkin comes in and breaks that goal scoring record, that's definitely going to be interesting, because that's going to raise a lot of questions about, is Ovechkin the greatest player of all time? You could definitely think that because he scored more goals than Gretzky. So in a sense, people may make that argument. I think we live in a different time. I think goal scoring is a lot more prevalent now than it was. There was a lot more hands, grabbing, holding, hooking. If Gretzky was playing in today's NHL, we could all probably be pretty honest with the fact he'd probably have more goals than he did. And I think that's pretty fair. That's a pretty safe argument. I think 99% of people would agree with that. But you still can't deny Ovechkin if he does indeed break that, because that would be fantastic to see a player like the NHL has had in Ovechkin, on the ice, off the ice, his family situation, all that stuff. People love that. And it's great for the game of hockey. I really think Ovechkin is going to indeed break that record. I'm going to pin it at fall of 2025. We're going to see Ovechkin next year break that record. He is going to be the greatest goal scorer of all time, the greatest goal scorer by any margin in our generation. And maybe he doesn't end up with the cups that Sid did in Pittsburgh. But OV, I will say, his lasting power at this point might be a little bit better than Crosby. So that's going to do it for today's video. If you guys like this content, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, as always. There's always going to be a soft spot in my heart for Alexander Ovechkin, even though he's beaten my Islanders in the playoffs many years and scored many goals against my Islanders, and you know where he's going to sit. He's going to sit at the top of the slot, and it's just a matter of when he gets that opportunity on a power play or the final minutes of the game. This is an electric hockey player, and even the biggest rivals to Ovechkin cannot deny just what a hockey player he is. Let me know down below, guys. Do you think Ovechkin could break the all-time goal-scoring record? And when do you think he'll break the all-time goal-scoring record? Let me know down below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and let's go, Caps.